Mia had always been the type of girl who turned heads when she walked into a room. She carried herself with confidence, knowing she was the kind of person people admired, beautiful, popular, and envied. Ever since high school, she had been used to getting whatever she wanted, and for a long time, that included Jake. He had been hers, the perfect accessory to her perfect image. But things changed. Jake had never been as obsessed with popularity as Mia was. He had been patient with her, loved her despite her flaws, but he eventually realized she saw him as more of a prize than a person. Their relationship ended, and for a while, Mia assumed he'd come crawling back. He never did. Then she found out why. Jake had moved on, but not with someone Mia considered competition. He was now dating Lila, a girl Mia had barely noticed in school. Lila was quiet, bookish, and overweight, a far cry from the kind of girl Mia thought Jake would go for. When Mia first saw the pictures of them together on social media, she laughed. She assumed it was some kind of joke, or maybe a rebound. But it wasn't. Weeks passed, and Jake was still with Lila. Mia found herself obsessing over their relationship. She scrolled through Lila's profile late at night, staring at the pictures, dissecting every post. It made no sense to her. How could Jake, the boy who once worshipped her, be happy with someone like Lila? It was infuriating. Her friends told her to move on, that it wasn't worth her energy, but Mia couldn't let it go. The idea of Jake choosing Lila over her felt like a wound that wouldn't heal. Every time she saw them together, she burned with a rage she couldn't explain. And then, one night, she decided to do something about it. It was late when she drove to Jake's apartment, her mind clouded with alcohol and jealousy. She knew he kept a spare key under the flower pot by the door. He had never changed the hiding spot. She let herself in, heart pounding, fueled by something dark and irrational. The bedroom door was slightly open. Inside, Jake and Lila were asleep, wrapped up in each other. The sight made something snap inside Mia. That was her place. That was supposed to be her bed, her boyfriend, her life. Before she even realized what she was doing, she grabbed the heavy lamp from the nightstand. It felt solid in her hands, like an extension of her anger. She stepped forward, raising it high, ready to rip apart the world she refused to accept. A sudden movement. Jake woke up. In the dim light, he saw her, eyes wild, face twisted with rage. He barely had time to react before she brought the lamp down. But he moved, his instincts kicking in, and instead of Lila, Mia's momentum sent her off balance. She stumbled backward, her heel catching on the edge of the rug. The world tilted. A sharp, sickening crack echoed through the room as her head collided with the corner of the dresser. For a moment, everything was silent. Jake scrambled out of bed, turning on the light. Mia lay motionless on the floor, her eyes wide open but empty. Blood pooled beneath her head. He knelt beside her, shaking her shoulders, calling her name, but there was no response. Lila sat up in shock, her body frozen, her breath coming in ragged gasps. She couldn't process what had just happened. One moment, she had been asleep, safe in Jake's arms. The next, a girl who hated her for simply existing was lying dead on the floor. The police arrived soon after. The investigation was quick. There was no evidence of foul play, no sign of anyone else being involved. It was ruled an accident. Mia had let her jealousy consume her, and in the end, it had taken her life. People talked about it for weeks. Some pitied Mia, saying she had been a victim of her own insecurities. Others whispered that she had brought it upon herself. But for Jake and Lila, the experience left a scar they would never fully erase. Lila had survived. The girl Mia had mocked, ignored, and underestimated had lived. And Mia, the girl who once had everything, had lost it all in a single moment of blind rage,